Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Asha's Comics and Games. Today we're going to be ranking every season of Arrow and every villain from every season of Arrow. So I do have them in order, so which we can go through in just a bit for you. Let me just put them back in order, like that. Which just goes like that then. So we're going to go through every season villain and every season individually, and we're going to talk about how we think they were and how they could have improved, and maybe a little bit about each season. I did do a review for every season on my other YouTube channel, so go and check that out. This will be kind of like a part 2 to that, so that's why it's on the Comics and Games channel, because it's a comic show, so I thought I should at least include a part of it, especially if I'm ranking the villains. It should be on the comics channel, so that's what we're doing for now. So let's get straight into this. So season 1 of Arrow, for me, is my second favourite season. So it's going in S tier. It's going in A tier. Because I thought the villain of the season was the Dark Archer, Malcolm Merlyn. I thought also he was a really good villain. And I thought there was a good dynamic between the hero and the vigilante and the villain. He was mainly a vigilante in the season. He did kill. But he didn't... There was a lot more violence in this season than there was in the other season, and obviously it was just the main 3 members of Team Arrow, which was Oliver, Felicity, and Diggle. And at this point, Felicity hadn't gotten too annoying of a character and being too pushy, so I thought that at this point in the film, it was actually really in the show, it was really good, drawback of drama, comedy, a bit of action, a lot of action in there as well. Yeah, they also had a lot of also, you had a death at the end of the season, which was obviously Tommy Merlyn's. If you have watched the show, if you haven't, just ignore what I just said. Tommy Merlyn dies at the end of the season, which is kind of like one of the things that thrives Oliver to go through with the next few seasons. And obviously, Malcolm Merlyn as the villain, which is he's a really good villain. Obviously, he uses a bow mainly as a weapon, which is kind of the point of having a show about Arrow, which is a guy who uses a bow and arrow as a vigilante. And if you have a villain that also uses a bow, compared to a lot of the other villains, like we'll talk about in a bit, that is more of a villain that you would have for this Arrow. I just want to point out as well, they didn't use Count Vertigo, even though Count Vertigo is Arrow's main villain in the comics. They used him like here and there in the thing, but I felt like he should have had a whole season just to himself. I think he could have been the first villain in Arrow, but they didn't use him enough. In season 2 of Arrow, then we have got a whole. We've got. I'm gonna put that in S tier. It was my favorite season, and I'm also gonna put the villain in S tier because it was my favorite season by far. There was the end of the season had a great battle. There was a lot of build up through the season as well. We also saw the return of Sarah Lance as the Black Canary, so we had that extra character added into the mix as well, which was really good. The references to the past were good as well. I felt like they were the best we saw in the show. And there was a lot of action and good. There was a good bit of comedy, and there was good storyline and plot. Again, Felicity wasn't as annoying in this season as she was in a few others, but great character development as well, because all of us now has developed that no killing rule in the season. So by the end of the season, he does not kill Slade Wilson. He actually imprisons him, which is where his rule comes in. We also have the addition of Roy Harper as Red Arrow or Arsenal, depending on which one you prefer. We have the addition of Roy Harper as Red Arrow then. Also, we also find out Malcolm Merlyn is still alive by the end of the season, and we find out Thea's his daughter, which is good to think. And we also have a major death in the Arrow universe in this season as well, which is Moira Queen. And Moira Queen is one of the things that drives him really to carry on through the series with that no-kill rule. And he is one of the people that Oliver didn't manage to save, who he loves the most, which is his mother. And next we have season 3, which is where I'm going to put it in B tier. I'm going to put it in C tier, actually. This is where we have another addition to the team. Actually, I'm going to talk a little bit about more about season 2 at the start of season 2. So, we do actually have another major loss at the start of season 2 of Arrow. Actually, we have the loss of the is it season 2? No, never mind. At the start of season 3, we have a major loss for the Arrow universe, which is actually Sarah Lance as the Black Canary, and we do lose her in the season due to his Thea Queen, who goes by Speedy at the end of the season. She actually ends up killing Sarah under. Obviously, she's been drugged by her father, Malcolm Merlyn, who is still trying to become Ra's al Ghul. And obviously, Ra's al Ghul is the main villain of this series. You can see a pattern now. Arrow's starting to take some of Batman's villains. We've got Slade Wilson, who is more of a Teen Titans villain, graduated, but he did start off as a Batman villain. And then we've got Ra's al Ghul, who is definitely a Batman villain, without a doubt. He's got to be a Batman villain. But the thing is, with this season, it does not talk. It's not like Arrow as in like using a bow. He uses a sword during the season, which really annoys me. It's because Arrow is about a guy with a bow and arrow. This season's more focused on just trying to overcome his fear. Obviously, you have to be good at hand-to-hand combat, but you don't have to be an expert with a sword to carry a bow and arrow, which is really what annoys me about this season, and that's why I give Ra's al Ghul the D tier, because I don't like him as a villain for Arrow. If this is the same actor, Batman show, it would have been a lot better, because the storyline would actually make sense, and what happened would have made sense too. We're going for Arrow season 4. The main villain of this season was Damien Dark, and we do have a major loss in this season as well. We have the loss of one of the saddest losses in my opinion, which was the loss of Laurel Lance, due to being killed killed by Damien Dark. And this season, I thought it was actually pretty good, apart from the villain. The loss of a major character like Laurel Lance is what really drove the season to become better, because of that loss, and because of the pain that all the characters were feeling, is what made the season a bit better. The villain of the series I'm going to put in D tier without a doubt, because again, it's become much less about using a bow and arrow. He uses magical powers, and that's just not how the type of show Arrow used to be. It used to be street tier fighters like Slade Wilson and Oliver Queen and the Dark Archer. They're street tier villains and street tier heroes. We're looking at Damien Dark and we're thinking he is not a street tier villain or a street tier hero. He is just magical, so he should really be a part of the Dark Justice League's kind of like villainy. I think he should have gone up against Constantine, maybe not. Obviously, Constantine does appear in this season, and so does Vixen. Which, to be fair, we did get some good cameos in these 4 seasons. We've obviously had Barry Allen, The Flash. We've had, obviously, the White Canary, the Black Canary a few times. We've got Speedy in the season as well. And it really drives the team to become better. Laurel Lance's death it just doesn't make sense. At the end of the season, they have to engage in a fist fight. No arrows used to actually take down Damien Dark. They use hand-to-hand combat, which is not how the season is supposed to be. And then season 5 of Arrow now, we're back to Holy Peak, and we're going to put that in A tier. This season is much more about loss and grievance, and it also makes Oliver come truth about what. Let me show you. Let me actually get my book. I wrote it yesterday. Where is it? He has to confront the truth of his the true cost of his past and what he means to be, what it means to be a hero. In this season, his patience is tested a lot more. He's not allowed to kill. Obviously, he's got the no-kill rule, and Adrian Chase is one of the people that makes him want to kill. Adrian Chase is obviously Prometheus, the throwing star killer, and this is another really good villain. He again uses a bow and arrow in this season. It's his main weapon. There's nothing to do with mind tricks or anything like that. Adrian Chase is one of them characters that's really dislikable. You don't like him at all, but he's a great villain, and I felt like the double cross that we had again was really good. in the season. Again, we have a loss at the end of the season, which does seem to be a rhythm with Arrow, which is, something. Actually, Laurel returns in this season as Black Siren from Earth 2, who's actually a villain, which is cool to see, but I don't know if they actually had to bring her back. I don't know if I liked that they brought her back, which could have been like a downfall of this season. But Prometheus was a really peak and great killer. Obviously, the loss in this season was Oliver Queen's one of Oliver Queen's exes, who also is the mother of his son, who he doesn't find out until season 4 during a crossover event. We've got season 6. I actually thought this was quite a good season, so I'm going to put that in A tier, mainly because of the fact I don't really like the villain too much. I think the villain is a bit outdated and a bit annoying. But I did like the fact that he had a new team in the season. He adopted a few other vigilantes, like Dinah Drake, who is supposed to be the Black Canary, becomes the Black Canary in the season. So does Wild Dog. I think Wild Dog Renee, he's one of my favourite characters in the show altogether. And Mr. Terrific, again, a great character in this show. I feel like Mr. Terrific is used a bit he's a bit underwhelming in this film compared to the movie. Obviously, a Superman, he's a bit of a lesser, weaker version of Mr. Terrific. Felicity, again, this season starts to get a bit more annoying, which I don't like too much, but you can cope with it through the season. I think this is the season where Speedy decided to leave, because all of us got a good team now. And then this season we've got Ricardo Diaz as the main villain. I thought he was a half decent villain. He wasn't good by any means, but he was an Arrow villain, if you know what I mean. He was street level. He was a kingpin. He's like the kingpin of the DC of the Arrowverse, really. He goes by the Dragon, obviously. And there was there a big loss of this season? Let me think. Yes, there was. The big loss of this season was Quentin Lance, which actually was the saddest death in the Arrowverse, in the Arrow show for me, because Quentin Lance was one of them characters. He was so likable. Even when he was chasing Oliver, you always wanted to be one of them people. You wanted him to win. He was such a great character, and with all the development, he became on Oliver's side after trying to track him down for 2 years, and he obviously became coupled with grief, and then he became Mia. And I do like that he returned for the last 2 episodes of what's it called, Arrow, season 8. Next we've got season 7 of Arrow. Okay, this one, see, I don't like the season that much, but I do like the villain. Arrow season 7, obviously at the start of the season he is in prison. He's not, he's still in prison. He's trying to fight for his life, because obviously he put a lot of people away in that prison. He meets Talia al Ghul, he meets Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger helps him, not escape, but Ricardo Diaz is still a villain at this point in the series. Tries to kind of trying to attack him inside of the prison, and obviously Bronze Tiger and him get out, and so that is kind of like the main plot. And then towards the end of the season, he kind of like tries to retire with Felicity. Doesn't need to become a hero. He's got a child on the way, and all this. Felicity also has quite a big plot in this season as well, because she wants to kill Ricardo Diaz, but obviously she's never killed before. And Laurel, Earth 2, actually ends up stopping her, and this is the plot really where she becomes a hero, which I really do like about that as well. The main villain of this season then was Emiko Queen, which she's not a villain in the comics, but in this show, I don't like that she's a villain. I wish she would have been a Red Arrow, to be honest. Because by the end of the season, she has redeemed herself. She's actually the one who killed Ricardo Diaz during this season, during the earlier season, and then she goes by the name Green Arrow, and she has a connection with Renee because they work together just trying to stop people, save the Glades, and I respect her for that. But her character was not done particularly good. I did like that she returned for the last episode of Arrow as well, As actually, she's obviously Oliver Queen's half sister from his father. So I do like that they actually that she actually gets to like memorialize Arrow by the end of the season. Arrow season 8 then. This was the downfall of Arrow for me. This is going to beat you. The only reason I do like it is it's only a 10 episode season, which I do think we should have had another 4 episodes at least for the kind of like the build up to the end of the season. I did really like it though. I did really like the characters that you saw return. You had Thea come back. You had Roy Harper come back. You had who else we have? We had Mr. Terrific came back. A lot of good characters. Ragman came back in the last episode. You had loads of good characters, and obviously with this came the main villain, which was the Anti-Monitor, which I didn't like him as a character at all. I thought he got beaten way too quick in the crossover, and I do think that Arrow, Arrow ended in a good place with Oliver's death, but I just don't think that he would go out that easily. And he did sacrifice himself at the end of the world for his Kara and obviously what's her name, Kara and Barry by the end of the season. But so this is my complete ranking of every single season and every single villain from the Arrow TV show. Comment down below how you would rank them, and what do you think, which season you think is best, and which season do you think is worst, and which villain do you think is best, and which villain do you think is worst. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Bye.